there. So today we are going to perform a video modeling sequence such that it will be created for a participant, one that I have worked with and I have facilitated. However, this is not something that I could have done via video online for confidentiality purposes. So therefore we will follow the sequence of the steps involved for creating this video as done in reality. So a little background information for the participant. So the participant's name is Julie, and she has been said to engage in getting dressed routines in the clinic where she receives weekly therapy. However, results prove to be different in the home when in the presence of her mother and nanny. The significance in increasing independence of self-care tasks will promote for Julie's ability to take care of herself in the absence of her family members being present. Teaching daily living skills is useful for promoting generalization of learned skills to other environments where self-care skills are required for adequate performance and improved quality of life. So being able to increase self-care skills will help her to become more independent outside of the home, such as in the school setting and during time spent engaging in extracurricular activities in the community environment. A benefit to the use of this procedure at increasing her ability to perform said tasks in the home environment is that said abilities have been witnessed in other environments where Julie is said to get dressed independently, such that teaching those getting dressed skills are already present in Julie's repertoire. This further indicates that training will focus on eliminating prompt dependencies that Julie may have relied on from her mother and nanny when getting dressed is required from her in the home setting. So firstly, we want to identify the target behaviors to be included within the video model. So for independence in doing self-care tasks in the form of selecting and putting on clothing, items will be defined in two parts. For one, we want to identify what it actually means to select clothing items. So for example, it would be any instance of independently retrieving clothing items from the predetermined location found in the child's bedroom closet that has been directed from the video model, provided via picture aids, not including selection of any other clothing item not represented by the video model being showed, including instances of child selecting an additional item to dress from that shown by the video model, such as a jacket or a sweater. And further, the second step would be putting on the actual clothing items. And I won't read through every single definition. However, it would involve putting on underwear, socks, shirt, pants, shoes. So that way, these definitions are inclusive within the video model so that they're done correctly for data collection purposes and accuracy. So next we want to include a task analysis to identify those steps needed to complete the task of getting dressed in the home setting. So let's assume that previously observation data were collected on Julie's getting dressed routine between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. across 3 days. That would include 2 weekdays and 1 weekend. So let's say Julie was prompted to go get dressed during those daily occurrences that required getting dressed in the morning for school and in the afternoon for dance. The presence or absence of her getting dressed was recorded to identify Julie's independent skills for getting dressed. So using the data, a task analysis was created to determine training during intervention sessions. Observations for Julie's ability to get dressed independent of anyone's help determine that she is able to go to her room when prompted to go get dressed for a specified activity. She will take her underwear and put it on and further wait for someone to come and deliver assistance with the remaining items to be put on. So a task analysis for Julie's getting dressed involved 10-step sequence, walking to her bedroom, undressing, selecting clothing items, putting on socks, underwear, shirt, pants, followed by walking downstairs to the front door and putting on shoes. For the putting on socks, that would be considered 2 steps, as obviously it's an act that requires putting on one foot and further the other foot, and not both on the same foot. So we want to record that and make sure that that's done accurately so that completion of these steps is followed through accordingly. And then unprompted completion of these steps was a dependent measure for this study. Throughout all phases of the study, the sequence of getting dressed as shown in the video model does not have to be replicated in the same sequential fashion when initiated by Julie, such that correct responding for any single getting dressed task from the task analysis is considered a correct response regardless of the order that the getting dressed routine is completed. So if Julie decides to put on her pants or select pants before selecting a shirt and putting it on, that would be considered okay as long as it's done correctly and without prompts. Even if in the task analysis shirt comes before pants. So in this case, we see that the steps involve 1, walking to the bedroom, 2, undressing, 3, selecting clothing items, 4, putting on underwear, 5, putting on a sock on one foot, 6, putting on sock on second foot, 7, putting on shirt, 8, putting on pants, 9, walking down the stairs, and finally 10, putting on shoes. So finally, we want to go ahead and create the video model. So prior to conducting our baseline and intervention sessions, a single video was produced to identify appropriate completion of getting dressed routine by Julie's twin sister. The video included target behaviors of getting dressed in a sequential format, such that the video began with a verbal prompt from the mother to her twin sister indicating it is time to go get dressed for specified activity, and further presented Julie's twin sister a list of 3 picture items that her daughter had the choice to select, one from the 3 items presented that she could have to take with her upon completion of her getting dressed independently. The total duration of the getting dressed video was 3 minutes in length, which consisted of Julie's twin sister following the initial verbal prompt to go get dressed, which was only 5 meters away from her bedroom location, followed by walking to the bedroom, locating appropriate clothing items to be worn from those picture aids placed within different locations within Julie's closet and dresser, i.e. the underwear, socks, pants, and shirt, followed by Julie's twin sister having to independently put the clothing items on. So in order to ensure that Julie would watch this video and become familiar with the location of items, prior to the recording of the video, Julie's twin sister was directed to physically point to article of clothing that she was selecting, followed by verbally expressing each act of putting on the clothing in first-person perspective. So such that when she was selecting a shirt, she pointed to the picture cue card displaying the word shirt, selected a shirt, and said, "This is my dance shirt," followed by, "I am putting on my dance shirt." The final clip of the video was presented after completion of the getting dressed routine, meaning the total 10-step getting dressed routine from the task analysis, where Julie's twin sister said, "Now I am ready to go to specified activity." This was followed by her mother providing positive praise in the form of, "Great job, I'm so proud of you, here is your selected tangible reinforcer." The final clip from the video presented images of Julie's selected tangible reinforcers, which was identified during the preference assessment phase. This was done to maintain Julie's interest and motivation when having to perform those steps presented from the video, as she was immediately provided a verbal prompt to go get dressed upon having finished watching the video. During the recording of this video model, no prompts were delivered to Julie's twin sister to ensure that consistency of getting dressed was done in the absence of anyone being in her presence to support the completion of the 10-step task. Upon completion of the video, Julie was verbally prompted to go get dressed for a specified activity to ensure that the instructional video model was fresh in her memory and reinforcement was not delayed for too long of a period for Julie to lose motivation for completion of the task of getting dressed independently. So as we see in this video model sequence, we present an initial prompt, followed by having to actually engage in the 10-step task analysis sequence, which is not prompted and not in the presence of anyone else. However, we advise that we had picture aids in the presence of the locations where clothing items were to be selected, so that it ensures that the child can perform these tasks on their own through visual cue cards, as well as providing them with the notion that reinforcement will be delivered upon independent completion of the tasks. And now, obviously, prompts can be delivered following having watched the video model, but this was not done for her watching her twin sister engage in the task. And yeah, it was a successful intervention, and again, like I mentioned, getting dressed was already something that was in Julie's repertoire as she was exhibiting these behaviors independently in the clinical setting where she received therapy. So it was pretty much just prompt dependencies that were occurring in the home, and so to eliminate that, we created this video, provided picture cue cards, and a reinforcement contingency following completion of the tasks. And this seemed to be very effective. So yes, thank you.